What's going on, guys? Cody from MotorcycleMD. Welcome back to yet another episode. I believe this is part 3 of the road to stardom as we go through the CL350 Scrambler tracker build that I'm trying to finish ultimately. Okay, this one I want to do a little bit differently. We do a little bit more of a get you more involved on just the hassle that I kind of went through with the top end portion of it, going through kind of tensioner systems, getting a little bit of information on how the CL350 as well as many other older Honda tensioner systems may work in relation to this one, and the parts that I swapped out. I did go with a slipper tensioner system. I also went with new cam holders with needle bearings inside that I got from an Italian company. Link in the description to where they sell that stuff at. Great stuff, awesome stuff, great people to work with as well. They give you lots of good information. So shout out to them as well as Common Motor and the people who actually helped me with the camshafts originally. This is the fat cam for the CL350 and they refinished it for me, so as you'll see in the video it actually looks brand new. It's because of the guys over at Common Motor redid that for me, as well as the rocker arms, sent it off to them, and they did a great job. But in this one, we'll kind of take it a little bit slower as we go through that process. So the motor, so now we're working on getting the motor back together, top end, and then we kind of progress through some of the upgrades that we did and kind of talked about them a little bit more in this video than I have in the previous two. I certainly enjoyed editing up this video, and it was actually kind of difficult because there's so much that I wish I could just leave in and talk about, because it was kind of cool banter between me and the members as we kind of went through this. And just so you know, all this information, if you want to really get involved in what we all went through or what I went through with everything on the motor, it's all inside of the inner circle. You can check that out. Tons of videos in there on the whole build up to where it is right now. I will have a link in the description for you as well. And don't forget, this video is sponsored by Grip Clean, my favorite hand cleaning company when it comes to garage use. I love their wipes. I will always, till I die, push this product. I love their wipes. They're great if you don't have water running in your garage like I don't, and you need to clean your hands up, your tools up. These things are amazing. GripClean.com. You get 10% off when you use code MotoMD at your cart. The entire cart will be 10% off. Okay? Give them a shout out, great people. I'll put a link to their website in the description as well. Check them out. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear about it. Other than that, let's dive right into the video. Hope you enjoy it. Comment below, like, share, subscribe. I appreciate all the love I get from you guys from all these videos, and I hope you enjoyed this one just as much as I did. See you at the end. Tensioner system. Okay, this is a tensioner, very common, 350, 450 do something very, very, very similar. And the way that it works is you have a cylinder here with a shaft and a rubber slash metal pad with a spring behind it. Okay, this has a bolt that goes straight onto the shaft and holds it in, and a lock nut to lock it down. So if I were to release this, you can see that this shaft now comes out. Okay, it's very, very simple. So when you turn the motor through it at a certain degree, it brings the most amount of slack into the chain, and this shoots out, and you lock this back down. Once you lock it down, okay, well, it's too far out. Try it again. There we go. This pushes on the back side of this tensioner. Alright, this chain, which is the factory original chain of 5,000 miles. This is actually probably a perfectly usable chain. This bushing goes in here for the wheel to spin on. This goes inside of here as well, but not until this is locked into place here. You see this has two little cutouts for it. So does this. Come on, there we go. And then that center collar holds on to two very, very important cushions. Very easy to drop inside the motor, but they will ride and rest on there like that. And this allows it to give it a little bit of spring pressure, bounce, rigidity. Okay, so this is obviously running down to the crank. This is obviously running up to the camshaft. So as this pushes out, it applies tension to the chain. Okay, chain runs and rides on this wheel as well as this one. That spins. All right. The issue is this rubber here was once like hockey puck rubber. You could dig your fingernail into it. It was pliable. Fast forward 30 years later, this is now hard as a rock. Okay. So with this chain being the figure 8 normal okay chain, it will begin to dig into this rubber, and this rubber will come apart. And it comes more apart when the tensioner is not adjusted, people leave it loose, the chain's slapping all inside of it, or it's too tight, people run it too tight. It's kind of hard to run it too tight, honestly, unless you drill a hole in the back of it and push on it. But this rubber wears out, because as this rides inside of it, whether this wheel is spinning as fast as the chain is or not, it will start to eat it up. Okay, and what happens is, you can see there's already plastic missing. This wasn't chewed up too bad. Honestly, this was not chewed up too bad, and I'll show you why. Or an example as to why it's not chewed that bad. But you can see the indentions of the chain in this as well, just from it sitting. So, that's a regular wheel. I would say this is pretty much close to being new, size-wise. Pretty big wheel, right? Check that out. Check that out. That is a wheel that is completely gone. And that was in a running motor. This was in a running 350 motor. It sounded like garbage, but that's what happens over time. So much. Whoa! Here's another one. It's not too worn. I mean, obviously it's worn, but it's not as bad as it was as this one. But you can see what happens. Chain slides on it, tears up the plastic. Okay, these are 3 different variations. This is the one that came out of this motor. One of the wheels that I pulled out of a motor was obviously had been into before. Is people will find these online. Okay, this is a metal version of the top wheel. Right, seems kind of cool, right? Seems like a good idea, maybe. It's not wearing on plastic. You have no plastic that can wear out. It's just metal on metal. Okay, the issue here is that look at how much play is in this. Look at that, left and right. Okay, you can see this wheel was definitely heated up by the bluing of it. It makes sense. It makes sense, and I really looked into this wheel, believe it or not. But it's not a great. After taking one apart, I said, "There's no way I'm going with this." And this is also the guide. Well, part of the guide from that motor with that small wheel. This one, you can see how the chain dug into the metal, carried that metal with it. The guide is gone, almost completely gone. This is a good guide that I'm gonna put back in my motor. So it has a little bit of wear on it. Yes, still totally usable though. But look at the difference. Actually, it'd be more like this. The second part is broken off. Still in the motor, and the top part is gone. Look at that. Insane. Insane. Okay? So we are doing away with this completely. Right? And we are putting this in its place. Okay, the KA slipper tensioner. It's got a guide already built in. There. We're not going with the original chain. this little figure 8 chain. We've swapped the chains to a slipper chain, kind of like a high-vode chain in a way. All right, I can't show the chain on it, but you guys to get the same picture, right? So this rod will still fit into here once I clean up the holes of this slipper tensioner. So this will still run inside of it with these, okay? So with the pressure from here, the pivot here, this whole system will function and apply its own tension onto the chain as one equal unit, right? The chain we're going with is a flat link style, okay? So when this is riding on that slipper, there's little wear going on with this chain on that plastic, okay? There's no longer a figure 8 link, it's a flat style chain. So that being said, let's finally get these pistons and cylinders onto this motor. camshaft is done. I had to get the ends of the camshaft turned down. Turned down meaning like smaller diameter. And then a shelf left on here for machined washers. To sit on those shelves. All for the purpose of my cam holders that have needle bearings installed. I needed the cam turned down to fit this race. That race is what goes inside of here, but it has to be pressed or heat fitted onto the camshaft. That's probably not called heat fitted, but it's a light fit that does not need to be pressed on, but I can freeze the camshaft, heat this up. I think it's called an interference fit, and I can hopefully drop this straight onto inside of the shaft, which will, in essence, hold the washer in as well as sit on the camshaft perfectly and not fly off or anything like that. As you can see, it does not go on easy. There's no way I can get that on. So the machinist I took it to was awesome. I mean, he was a great guy. He even brought the very end of it tighter so that it will go on a little bit, but it'll stop right there. So he started to go a little bit bigger. And he said he did that so that when I start to go on, and I don't get stuck here. So if it's on like this, it's already, he knows that it will be straight and it will go on nice and easy. The hard part that I'm also worried about is the instructions from the company that I got these from. This washer, spacer, whatever you want to call it, goes on the end, and I have to fit this sprocket in over it, right? But these things only fit in here a certain way. So what I did, just to mess with it, and I know the sprocket has to go on this way, left side. I tried to hold this washer down with my fingers while I found a way to just barely get this sprocket to go over and through where I needed it to go through. I was able to do it, but I really had to just like scratch it on there, marking on here, but it went on. Okay, so I'm confident that I can do that. The hard part's gonna be doing it inside of the cam box, right? Because I can move my camera around all I want like this, but as soon as I go inside of here, I am limited as to what I can do with this cam. So I figure worst case scenario, what I can do is I can take a little bit off of here to the very edge, make sure, and I'll pull the cam back out and take some off right where I know it needs to come off, and then I'll kind of go back through. That's what I think might happen, which is okay. But what I need to do is without the races, I'm going to install the cam into the box with the holders and the gaskets on both sides of these holders, because that's also going to take up some clearance, and just make sure that everything rotates smoothly. I don't need to install the rockers, just the cam and the cam holders. And that's what we're going to do, just to verify that everything's going to be smooth. Alright, so there's definitely some clearance. Seems like a lot of clearance to me. So those are installed, holders are installed. It's quite a bit of play. It seems a little bit excessive. Like I said, I do have some spacers, but I don't think they're gonna work. Like this is the old shim right here, and there's some space there. But I would need like 2 of them to feel comfortable, I feel like, with that much play. You know, and some of the play might be taken out once the races go on, I'm not sure. It might feel a lot tighter, you know, once the races are on the end of the cam. But once I put those things on there, they're not going off. So yeah, I think you can understand my pain. This, and on the inside. So maybe back here by that big washer. To take up some more space, some more end play. I don't know, because I can't run it like that. That will throw the sprocket like this. And it won't be even down to the bottom of the crank. So I'm glad I did that video. So that's it. Again, trying to keep it within that 20-minute mark. I don't want to make these things too long. I know you may think that we could have progressed more, but I wanted you to see some stuff, okay? So, again, thank you so much for just taking the time to watch this video. I hope you guys are enjoying this series. This is a new thing for me I haven't done. And I can't wait to show you guys next video as we kind of make more progress to get to the point to where it's at now, which will be fresh videos for you guys to see as I endeavor to finish this bike. It's gonna happen. It's going to happen. It will happen. So that being said, thank you guys so much for just hanging in. I value your guys' time. I hope you valued the video. And of course, when it comes to that kind of stuff that I just showed you guys, I'm no machinist. This is the first time I went through that kind of process. All right? Never done it before. It's always a learning curve. You may think, oh, you probably did that wrong. You could have machined it this way or done this way or said something wrong. Probably. But it was the first time for me, and I just want to let you guys in on that as far as doing some kind of upgrade to that motor. First time. So, I enjoyed it. Hit the alert button so you know when the new video comes out. I may be sporadically putting a different video in line with the weeks just because I have some more content to give out to people who maybe don't care about this. But if you haven't already, make sure you join the mailing list, okay? Link will be in the description. That way I can just give you an email to say, hey, guess what? Fresh video, check it out below. I don't try to spam anybody. So as always, Cody from MotorcycleMD, bringing you guys some tips and tricks for my build and your daily rider. See you guys next time. Later!